So when I recorded this, I wasn't able to record the actual audio, but this is me using the tube tool to create hair, stylized hair. So pretty much if you want to see how I do it, you can just watch through. It's pretty simple. It's basically just taking tubes like I am here and shaping them to the way that I want the hair. The important thing is that you have an idea of how you want the shape of the hair to be. So for him, I want the hair to be coming from the very top of his head, in between the horns, flowing back and kind of spreading out on both sides to the left and the right of his face. So you'll see me take these tubes and this one I'm putting to the left. So this one's going to the left, and then I'll put one to the right, and I'll clone them, and then I'll just move them over, and I'll continue to adjust the radius of the tubes until I get the shape I want. And also I'm going to use the profile, so that will create like the box type shape, and that'll make it nice and flat. So yeah, you can enjoy. I'll probably make a more succinct one tutorial of this, but since I have this in this video, and I don't think I'm going to post the whole video because there's like 2 hours of silent tutorial. So but I figured I would post the hair because a lot of people are asking me for it. So yeah, here's how I do hair. So you'll see here in a minute, I'm going to use the profile tool, and you'll see it on the top right of the bar. It's very, very useful. You can adjust that square to kind of make different shapes, different profiles, and things that you want. I'm making it flatter so that the hair is less of a box and just more of kind of like a flat rectangle. And you can see here that I'm just adding some edges to it. So that makes hair very easy, because then you can just clone these and you can make this kind of hair all day, super easy, with the tube tool and with the profile option on the tube tool. So the volume of hair is very important, and it's really great to use the radius up top where you have all of the 3 radius dots, so you can essentially just manipulate each one of those nodes in the tube, and it's really great to just make that volume. So as I clone these, I'm going to move them, and I'm just going to fill up the back of that head, making sure to also pull them outward away from the back of the head so that everything is nice and there's a lot of volume back there, and it looks like there's lots of hair. Like, you don't want to have the head and then just have the hair kind of going straight down flat on the back. So everything is really about shaping and just kind of spreading the hair out left and right, but then also spreading it out backwards a little bit more, so the hair maintains that volume, so it looks more realistic. More realistic as cartoony tube hair, of course. It's also important to kind of make the hair nice and snug. So, there's plenty of strands, plenty of tubes that you can make. I'm always careful to make sure that there's lots of hair like kind of snug in there. Like, it has to look like there's hair filling that negative space. So you don't just want to do like a shell. I like to do hair kind of snug in there behind the ear, kind of behind the back of the neck. I don't have the neck yet, but you want to make sure that those gaps are filled, and they'll just look good when you have these tubes with the profile, which just makes them look very good. So just think of it in waves and like tiers. So I'll kind of do the base hair, and then sometimes I'll add another hair kind of behind it, so you sort of have rows of hair. That'll just make it look good, and it'll maintain that volume. And it's always important, when I pose my characters and things like that, a lot of them they're forward, when you're looking straight at them. So it's important to make, I mentioned the silhouette earlier. You really want the silhouette to look good. So I'm looking at him as a whole piece, and I'm like, okay, I can make the hair come out a certain amount to the right and to the left, but I have to be careful that it doesn't look too crazy. Like if you look what I did a moment ago, sometimes it can get you don't want the tube to get too big. You kind of want to maintain. You don't want it to look too bloated, and then it just kind of winds up looking silly. So I might have to add a few more to make it go out to the left and the right, or I'll just finish it, put it all together, and then use move and kind of spread it out a little bit more to the left and the right. But yeah, as you can see, I'm making these a little bit smaller and just kind of thinking about how they'll look, the best way that they'll look. And of course, you can just clone and rinse and repeat and keep going. But I love the tube tool. I think the profile is really like a game changer. It was a big help with Raphael as well when I was doing like his headbands and things like that. But it makes this kind of hair really, really easy. And if you wanted to do curly hair, you can just do these tubes and then just curl up like one end of them. That's what I did with the chibi cat girl. I kind of did it the same way, although that was a bit easier because she has a big hood on, so I don't have to worry about the whole back of the head. But you just use the tube and then you just kind of roll it up, and then you kind of fatten it up a little bit at the ends, and then you have curls. But I kind of like this nice little wave, so I tend to do this for some of these characters. I don't know why Sasquatch has such clean, flowy hair, but I'm not mad at him for it. So if you look at my sketch, you can see that I'm really trying to match up the sketch, and it's very nuanced. You can see that when it comes down from the ear, it's sort of there's a little bit of an S curve coming down from the ear, and then kind of curling under the head. So I'm paying attention to all those little details that I do when I'm drawing. I pay attention to those when I'm trying to sculpt something, because it's all in the little tiny minute details. So like over the years, I've really trained myself to pay attention to those little details and pay attention to like negative space. And what I mean by negative space is, like, for example, the space between the horn and the ear. That's something that I use to kind of make sure that things are sort of matching up with the drawing. And I think they're a little closer, I think, in my sculpt. Obviously, you can make changes. It doesn't have to be exactly one-to-one, but that's what really helps make it look just like the drawing. And of course, I always go through and adjust. You can use move and just kind of adjust things, and make things overlap, kind of tuck things in. And I'm always making adjustments, constantly make adjustments. It's all about the overall shape and how they work together to kind of form hair, even though they're just fat tubes. But shout out to everyone on my Patreon. I saw in the comments that a few people were asking for like a hair tutorial, like a stylized hair tutorial. So that's why I wanted to throw this together specifically for Patreon. So I'm going to throw this up on Patreon, and eventually it'll make its way to YouTube, I'm sure. But for now, I just wanted to, since I had this video, I just figured I might as well just kind of go through the process. I don't really like to record audio after the fact. I like to record in the moment. But my wife was home, and I wasn't able to do any audio because she was watching TV, and you know how it goes sometimes. But anyway, shout out to my patrons. I really appreciate your support. And keep the suggestions coming. I'm happy to make things and make videos that are specific to things that you guys ask. So I appreciate you. So I'm going to voxel remesh all of the hair together pretty high. Actually couldn't see the number I did. I think I did it like 350 or something like that. But I vox remesh it together pretty high so it maintains the detail. But be careful that you don't accidentally include the face when you vox remesh the hair, because then you'll have to do like I did and undo everything and do it again. So there's been certain points in time where I didn't voxel remesh the hair together. I just kind of left them separate. Maybe I validated each individual tube and just kind of grouped them or joined them. But I don't mind adding them. If I'm happy with the shape, I don't mind making them one singular piece. And then I use the crease tool to add more definition to it and kind of have more, just overall more definition in the hair. So you'll see I'll make these strands with crease, and if you notice, I'm using the inverse of the regular crease, so the crease is actually like sticking out. Sometimes I'll use both the crease, the outward crease, and then I'll do the inward crease, but I think for this one I just use the outward crease. I think it looks good, and I think it just adds an extra little pop to all the strands and just kind of gives it a little more detail to make it look a little bit better. Also, another good thing about having one singular piece as the hair, once I'm done with it and I've added the details, I can actually just take move or drag and I can move and sculpt the hair and just make the shape the exact shape that I want. So a lot of times when I make something, I always go back and I always edit it, I always change it. I'm constantly looking for things that can be better. I'm looking for shapes, the profile shapes. Everything just has to look good. I kind of think of things as a silhouette. The silhouette has to look good, meaning the outline of it, how far it comes back from the head. Everything has to look and feel realistic. Even though it's cartoony, I'm still basing everything in reality to some extent, which adds those touches that makes it believable and makes it just makes it look good as a more cartoony character. So a lot of this is based in reality, even though it's not realistic at all, obviously. But it's fun and it's appealing, which is, I think, more importantly, it has to be appealing. So you can actually add smaller strands. So basically doing the hair the same exact way we did the original bigger strands, you can do smaller strands and just kind of have them flowing along the same curvature of the hair, but sticking out a little bit. And it really adds a nice touch that you'll see here. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to go more in depth, then definitely check out my Skillshare classes where I am a top teacher. I have about 50 classes, both Procreate and Nomad Sculpt. I also have a few classes on Udemy, so if you want to learn more, or you just like my style, you like the way I teach, you want to support me, those are some other places that you can do it. Thanks again, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.